Fibromyalgia. It's one of the least recognized illnesses of the 21st century. In fact, some patients are told by their doctors that they're actually imagining the pain that they're going through. One thing's for sure, the afflicted have a very hard time living with it. In some cases, it's so severe it can lead to depression and to suicidal thoughts. Fibromyalgia is the topic of discussion today on Noon Hour Out of the Box. Coming up.
Welcome to Noon Hour Out of the Box, episode 19. Thank you so much for joining us. Your love and support means the world to the two of us. A huge thank you to Jenny DeHame, who makes all this happen, and to my incredible co-host, the man, the legend, Mr. Robert D'Alessio.
Esther Brzezinski, my wonderful co-host. What a pleasure it is to be here with you today and with our audience. And man, oh man, we got some really exciting news lately.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we're going to be on the internet. Esther, do you mind elaborating?
So we will be on Access Radio. The show that we're on will be every Saturday from 12 till 3. And if you love rock and roll music and you want to hear myself and Robert shoot the breeze, please tune in. You can get it if you have an Android. You can get it through Google Play. It is an app called Access Radio. If not, you can get it on their website, accessradio.co. And we are so excited.
Well, if you pardon the pun, Esther, we're going to rock the house.
Absolutely. It's
Hey,
wonderful.
Esther, very
Yes,
quickly.
yeah.
Let's go through a very quick shout out because this past Sunday, you and I got to hang out with some friends.
Yes, we did.
Actually, a local, well, we won't say local because it's becoming international, but a film producer from Montreal by the name of Teresa Pichano was becoming a household name. We got to hang out on her movie set this past Sunday, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it absolutely was. We were extras in this fabulous film. We really can't talk too much about it, but guys, 2022, you'll get to see it. It's an incredible story, and I am honored, as was Robert, to be part of it. So shout out to Teresa. Thank you so much for thinking of us.
And a very, very quick shout out by the way, the name of the film is a short film. It's going to be called Seamless Journey. A shout out to our good friend, Jesse Avellino, the location manager. There was also the director of photography on hand, Ionis Katrubis, an absolutely exceptional man, very, very professional.
Yeah,
we got to work with our friend, our director. His name slips my mind. What's his name again?
Elio
Costello. There you go.
Right. Yes.
Putting two heads together. There you go. That's what you get.
Better than none. Absolutely. And I also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Pete's. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Pete's
Meal Prep. Sorry, guys. Yes. You order by Sunday, you get your meals by Tuesday. And guys, if you mention Noon Hour Out of the Box, you will get a 20% discount on your first order. You can find them on Instagram under p.eats_preps. They are amazing. I recently had their peanut butter chicken and it was to die for. So highly, highly recommend. Yes, that's some of their detox drinks. Yes, so the show today is about fibromyalgia. Now, I myself have had some personal experience with the syndrome in that back in the 80s, I started to experience pain all over my body. I went to several physicians and basically was told that it was all in my head. Later on in the 90s, again, it was brought up and it was suggested that I might have fibromyalgia. Again, they didn't really have the diagnostic knowledge and know-how back then. And I was basically told, well, if you sleep 8 hours a day and have your 3 meals and exercise, you should feel okay. Now, Robert, I know you yourself have had some personal experience with this syndrome.
Well, actually, my current girlfriend, the love of my life right now, she's afflicted with fibromyalgia. It started off as a common cold. You went to see the doctor. That's going to go away. And what happened is that it dragged on and dragged on. After 2, 3 months, she went back, and the doctor started getting some doubts. So he started touching some of those tender points.
Yeah, I have
Is
them
that
right here,
There's
actually.
actually 18 of
Yes.
them. That's right. And she qualified for 15 of them. And so what happened is that her doctor ended up telling her that she couldn't work anymore. He gave her a year off and
Wow.
told her basically she had to leave the profession that she was in, that's caregiving. And she goes, I'm not going to have any of that. So she made good do. She made it so that the doctor gave her the appropriate medication, which is called Lyrica. And that's what she's taking right now. And she's able to function. Determination is, the key to the whole thing. It's been a little bit difficult going to gyms and working out and all that, but she's very, very active, and makes the best of life. And she doesn't let this illness take away her what's the right word? Her liberty, her freedom.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she's highly functional with fibromyalgia, but there's other cases as well.
Yes, they run the spectrum of being mild to severe. So let's find out exactly what fibromyalgia is for our viewers out there who may not be that familiar with it. So, fibromyalgia is a disorder characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain accompanied by fatigue, sleep, memory, and mood issues. Researchers believe that fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way your brain and spinal cord process painful and non painful signals. So it is not a disease, it is a disorder, it is a syndrome. And that's important to understand because it also makes it hard to diagnose. Now, there's some generalized symptoms that one can have that may give you the possibility that you might be suffering from this syndrome. And I'm going to show you some of the common symptoms. So, number one, widespread pain. The pain associated with fibromyalgia often is described as a constant dull ache that has lasted for at least 3 months. To be considered widespread, the pain must occur on both, not just one side, but both sides of your body, above and below the waist. That's important to understand. In addition, fatigue. People with fibromyalgia often awaken tired, even though they report sleeping for long periods of time. Sleep is often disrupted by pain, and many patients with fibromyalgia have other sleep disorders, such as restless leg syndrome and sleep apnea. And the third most common is cognitive difficulties, a symptom commonly referred to as fibro fog. And this impairs the ability to focus, pay attention, and concentrate on mental tasks. Now, it sounds very like generalized and almost kind of wishy-washy, and it is, in fact, fairly difficult to diagnose. So you were telling me about your partner that she, in fact, was assessed, and because she had 15 of the 18 tender points, that was how the doctor was able to determine that in fact was what she was suffering with. And that's what they do. And even back in the 90s, they started to understand, hey, welcome guys, they started to understand the understanding that it was indeed bilateral, and indeed it was all over, and there were these areas of the body that if you press, because I have probably about 10 of them from back in the 90s, I was told, of those tender points, and it's like over here and over here, and they indeed, even now if I touch them, they're quite sore. So it's, and it comes with coexisting conditions often, so I'm going to show you that as well. So, fibromyalgia often coexists with other conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, migraines, and other types of headaches. temporal mandibular joint disorders, anxiety, depression, and many other diseases that are similar in nature. So you were telling me that you actually knew someone else who had this syndrome and that they had it in a severe way. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, I experienced this. This is a person that was dear to me back in the time. I don't have any more contact with the person, but um, wow, I never saw anything like this. This person, I won't even name the gender. I don't want to get into any trouble over here. We're going to respect people's privacy. She was actually, well, there I just blew it. She was going through a very very hard time in the sense that she can go on and sleep for 3 days. And she was
Wow.
totally unable to function. You would have to help her take a bath, just get her up and walk. And some of the time, some of the occurrences, she actually had her right side. She was hit with temporary paralysis, which would last like a few hours. So that's very, very, very. That's a severe case of fibromyalgia. I know that she was hit with a sleep disorder. And also, it entailed sleepwalking. Believe it or not, I'm not
My
really
goodness.
sure. I'm not really sure if that's associated, but somehow, apparently, it is. So I didn't get any confirmation with that, and it was just like heartbreaking seeing this person going through her daily life. Um, and apparently there is no cure for this. So what you have to do is learn to live with it. You have to be active. We have a few tips over here that we can show you and
Yes, we
how you
do.
can make your life better. So the first tip over here would be is like eliminate the stress, because stress may trigger fibromyalgia symptoms. Minimizing stress can improve your quality of life.
Absolutely.
Also, our second tip we have over here is regular low intensity exercise, such as walking or warm water exercise, is one of the best treatments for fibromyalgia. Soaking in a warm bath or hot tub can relax tense muscles, reduce pain, and help you move more easily. Caffeine may compound stress both physically and psychologically. It stimulates the heart and central nervous system and can increase nervousness, anxiety, and insomnia. So you want to stay away from caffeine. That's what it's basically saying. Fibromyalgia can pose unique health challenges and make life complicated. So make time for yourself every day as part of your treatment. And the second last tip we have over here as we move along, if you're not getting enough rest, set the mood in your bedroom for sleep. And one of the ways that you can do that is that if you have a TV, you go onto YouTube and you get one of these videos. It's actually raindrops falling. You have a light thunder in the background, or you can have the ocean waves hitting the rocks. It's a great way to put yourself asleep. So you can get that for free on YouTube. You can fall asleep with that. And, I use that to fall asleep, so I just gave it away. Um, Keeping track of events, activities, symptoms, and mood changes can help you take charge of fibromyalgia. Well, there you have it. Those are
Yeah.
some tips that can improve your life.
Yeah, they're all fantastic tips. I especially highly recommend keeping the journal. I know myself as a migraine sufferer, I did that the first few years, and it really helped me understand what my triggers were. So that was very important. And also seeking support.
So,
That's important as well. Having someone to speak to, perhaps find a support group. And when you are going for your diagnosis, do your due diligence, know about the disorder, and find a doctor who understands what it is.
yeah, because there's nothing worse going to see a doctor or a professional or a caregiver, call the person whatever you want, and being bashed with negativity. It's in your mind, it's in your thoughts, and all that. It's something you're creating. That is absolutely frustrating and insulting at the same time. And a lot of times, you get a lot of these employers who just like it's a field day for them because you can't prove. There's nothing that you can show like a picture or whatever fibromyalgia. It's a symptom that's within. If there's anything that can convince them somehow, because let's face it, some people do abuse the system, But if there's some way you can convince them, is the side effects they have with that, like lack of sleep, lack of concentration. Then you get these dark thoughts in your mind. I don't want to go there. Um, so what happens is it's kind of hard being able to leave work. So it's not very easy. It's very challenging.
Absolutely. And there are actually some risk factors for fibromyalgia, and they include rather your gender. So fibromyalgia is diagnosed more often in women than in men. So that's interesting. And I think that's a misconception. I think there are men who suffer from it, but because the medical profession believe it's more a female syndrome, that men may be overlooked. So that is something to keep in mind. Family history. You may be more likely to develop fibromyalgia if a parent or sibling also has the condition. So that makes a lot of sense. That it's a genetic factor as well. And other disorders, for instance, if you have osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or lupus, you may be more likely to develop fibromyalgia.
Wow. And Esther, we're running out of time here, unfortunately. But if we can just go a little bit into your little personal life, if you don't mind, can you tell us what exactly are the biggest challenges that you face in your everyday life with your, call it a mild case of fibromyalgia, whatever it is? What are the challenges that you face that are challenging?
So I basically, if I don't get enough sleep, I will hurt. My body will hurt. So I definitely have to make sure that I get those 8 hours of sleep. If I don't exercise, like I said earlier, and quite honestly, in the last 18 months, I've barely exercised. I used to go to the gym 3 times a week because I wanted to prevent that full body bilateral aches and pains that I would get. So I am experiencing it more as of late because of that. So I do have to get back to that. And actually eating 3 meals a day, not missing a meal. So I really try to take good care of myself. There are times of the year that are difficult if it's damp, change of season, and I often get them. So I have comorbidity where I also have migraines and irritable bowel syndrome. So, and that's very common as well. So sometimes I think, oh, I'm having a migraine. Oh, but my body hurts. And really, to this day, it is so hard to explain to people that I'm not feeling well, that I have a migraine and my body hurts. And it's a chronic syndrome. It has its own issues in being a chronic syndrome that you feel alone at times. So support is so important. That's why I talk about, if there is a support group or if you know people who suffer like you do, it's important to keep that connection. There are support groups on Facebook. There are several groups on Facebook. Join them, talk with other people. You're not alone. You're not crazy. Seriously, the 80s and 90s, I was told that a few times. Not crazy, but that it was in my head. So I really, really recommend all that support and, self-care. Take care of yourself and you will be able to cope.
Well, Esther, I'm going to be asking you to be doing just that. Take care of yourself. You know why? You know why I'm
Why?
telling you that?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's that time once again. It's that awful time. It's time to say goodbye. And it's time to thank each and every one of the audience members who have tuned in. Thank you so much for being part of our show. And our show will be rebroadcasting right after we sign out. You can watch our show on my personal Facebook page. You can go on the Esther's Breeze YouTube channel and also on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Once again, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, Esther, for being there.
And thank you, Robert. I'd also want to mention that there will be a Jenny's Fun Facts about fibromyalgia. It'll be a lot about testimonials of people that we know and viewers who have kindly given their testimonials of their experience with fibromyalgia. And that should be up in the next day or so. And you'll find it on Noon Hour Out of the Box Facebook page.
And don't forget, final mention, we are now on Access Internet Radio, so you can go on and listen to our show, listen to some great music. Guys, it's really time to go. We thank you to P Eats for sponsoring our show. Thank you and see you next time.
Bye for now.
Ciao.